Angie?
Hello class, welcome to section 2.5. I've always got this crazy voice. But anyway, I'm here with tutor Matt, and we've had some questions on the word problems in 2.5, so we are going to address them. Some of the concepts, there's some definitions with supplementary and complementary. This problem here has to do with two angles that are complementary, and that just means that their sum is 90 degrees. So the basic thing with word problems that you want to make sure is don't get overwhelmed with too much information. Just take the problem kind of one sentence at a time. So we're going to start with this problem. First, let's read the problem. I'll let Matt read the problem.
Two angles are complementary if their sum is 90 degrees. The larger angle measures 3 degrees less than twice the measure of the smaller angle. If x represents the measure of the smaller angle and these two angles are complementary, find the measure of each angle.
Very good, Matt. And they've got a nice drawing here with a 90-degree angle. And x is going to be, they've already defined the variable for you. So x is going to be the smaller variable. So we will say smaller angle. Smaller angle, that's a sign for angle. And then we've got the larger angle. Larger angle. I could really use my stylus right now. So we're first going to work with the very first, I actually used, x is going to be the smaller angle for them, and then the two angles are complementary. So let's just say we've got two angles, and just looking from the first sentence, they are complementary if their sum is 90 degrees. So first, to understand this sentence, just think about it. If the smaller angle were 10 degrees, Matt, what would the larger angle be?
80.
How'd you get that, Matt?
Because 90 minus 10 is 80.
A lot of people would look at it and go, oh, 10 plus 80 equals 90. But Matt knew to get the 80, he started with the 90 degrees, and he subtracted the 10 degrees from it. If the smaller angle were 20 degrees, Matt, how much would the larger angle be?
70.
70 degrees, and so on. So notice I'm just kind of playing with some made-up values to get a feel for what the problem is. And how did I get to 70? I had started with the big 90 degrees and took off the 20 degrees of the smaller angle.
In a whole nother sentence.
Okay, cool. So now you might have to repeat this pattern a few times, but eventually, once you see what's going on here and you see how you've got two 90 degrees in both situations, and then you're just subtracting, where'd that 10 come from? Well, it came from my smaller angle. Where'd the 20 come from? That also came from my smaller angle. So if I just called the smaller angle x, using the pattern that I've just obtained, I know that the larger angle will then be 90 degrees minus x. So now we've got, just from that one sentence, we've got two expressions. One expression here, the x represents the smaller angle, and 90 minus x is going to be the bigger angle. Sound good? We've defined our variables. Sorry, I didn't mean to push that. Okay, so from the first sentence, we got that the small angle is x, and the big angle is 90 minus x. So this information came from the first sentence. So now we're going to look at the second sentence. The larger angle measures 3 degrees less than twice the measure of a smaller angle. That's a lot of words. Let's just take it one step at a time. The larger angle. Matt, what did we call the larger angle? Say it. You can
90
talk.
minus x?
They can't see you point.
I didn't know that's what you wanted me
The
to
larger
say.
angle is 90 minus x. So we're going to write 90 minus x. And it says it measures 3 degrees less than twice the measure of the smaller angle. So what's kind of confusing in this case is the word measures is actually the word is. Notice you could have the same sentence if you replace the word measures with the word is. Let's read it. The larger angle is 3 degrees less than twice the smaller angle. I skipped the word measured. So the larger angle is 3 degrees less than twice the smaller angle. So instead of measures, the measures is going to be our equal sign for is. Now 3 degrees less, to take 3 degrees less than something, you first have to have the something. So Matt, what's twice the measure of the smaller angle?
Well, since our smaller angle is x, twice that would be 2x.
So 2x, and we want 3 degrees less than that. So we end up with the following equation, and we're going to use our inverse operations to solve this. So I'm going to first add x, so I'm subtracting it on the left, so I'm going to add the x to both sides. I don't have a lot of vertical, oh, sorry, that's adding x. I can't talk and write at the same time. Yikes. There's x minus 3. Don't have a lot of vertical room, so I'm just going to use the horizontal method. I get 90 on this side because negative x plus x is just going to give me 0. And 2x plus x will be 3x minus 3. So now I want to get rid of the minus 3, get the x by itself. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 90 plus 3 is equal to 3x minus 3 plus 3. And I'm going to have to go to the next page. Matt, remember what this page said. So now we have 93 is equal to 3x. Very good. And the 3 is being multiplied by the x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. 93 divided by 3 is equal to 3x divided by 3. And remember, 3 divided by 3 doesn't cancel. It makes 3 divided by 3, Matt, is
1.
1. Yes, we've got 1 times x, which is just x. And so x is equal to 31. So in conclusion, what was x at the beginning of our problem? We could look back and see we wrote x was the measure of the
Smaller angle.
smaller angle. So in summation, the smaller angle is 31 degrees. So the larger angle then is what? What do you know about these two angles? They add up to
90.
90. So the larger angle is then 90 minus 31, which is equal to, what is that, 59 degrees. Good math. So I've now solved for both the angles. Ta-da! Thank you. Good job, Matt.
Woo.
High five. Woo! All right. Give yourself a high five.
You know.
Okay. Okay, so here's another problem having to do with office building spaces. The Pentagon is the world's largest office building in terms of floor space. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm reading the question. I will keep going. It has 3 times the amount of floor space as the Empire State Building. If the total floor space for these two buildings is approximately 8,700,000 square feet, find the floor space of each building. Okay, so again, don't try to put all the information together. Too bad, let's just take it sentence by sentence. So the first sentence is pretty much just a really interesting fact. The Pentagon is the world's largest office building in terms of floor space. Nice to know, but it's not going to help us in solving this problem. The next sentence is going to be, it has 3 times the amount of floor space as the Empire State Building. So we've got 2 quantities here. We've got the Empire State Building floor space and the Pentagon's floor space. Match, which one's bigger again?
The Pentagon.
Okay, cool. So there's the Pentagon floor space. And the Empire State Building floor space. Notice it's important to keep in mind that we are talking about floor space. When you define your variables, people don't go around calling the Pentagon 3x. They call it the Pentagon. but its floor space would be 3x. Yes? No. Okay, very good. So, the sentence that we're looking at, it has 3 times the amount of floor space as the Empire State Building. So, okay, so once again, you could, if you want to, make up make up some values. How big is the Empire State Building? Make it up. It's 100 square feet. So how big would the Pentagon be if the Empire State Building is 100? You can make up values, see the pattern, and eventually you'll see if the Empire State Building, since it's the smaller of the two, is the easier one to define as X. And so Empire State Building would be X, and if the Pentagon is 3 times the amount of the Empire Space Building, it's now a space building. But anyway, the Pentagon would then be 3 times X. So the expression X just represents the floor space of the Empire State Building, and then 3x represents the floor space of the Empire State Building. Cool? Cool. Then I'm going to go on to the next line. So the next line is the total floor space for these two buildings is approximately 8,700,000 square feet. Find the floor space of each building. So, total floor space is implying what operation, Matt?
Addition.
Addition. So if we take the floor space for the Empire State Building and add that with the floor space of the Pentagon, we'll get a total of 8,700, and our units are just going to be in 1,000 square feet, just to make life easier. I don't have to write 1,000 after that. See me do that, but there you go. So there's our equation, and to solve this, combine the like terms, an expression that I really can't stand, but I used it, and we've got 4x is equal to 8,700, and I'll continue on the next slide. And now if 4x is equal to 8,700, we divide by 4, and we get x is equal to, what is that, 2,175,000 square feet. And now go back to what you defined the variables. That x represents what?
Floor space of the Empire State Building.
Cool.
Or space building.
So the Empire now space building. Empire Strikes Back. Oh my gosh, the ESB, the Empire Strikes Back. The Empire State Building floor space is 2,175,000 square feet. And that would make the Pentagon, the floor space of the Pentagon is then 3 times the 2,175, which is equal to, quick Matt, do that in your head. 6,000 plus 400 minus 350. Somebody got a calculator? I'm just going to say it's 6,350. 375 150. Yeah. 1,000. How do you abbreviate that? 1,000, or is it 1,000 square feet? My apologies for the craziness. Oh, it's not even that at all. I can't multiply. I'm just gonna do the whole thing over. Sorry, guys.
We're good with math,
it's
not numbers.
6,000. It's late. 6,525,000 square feet. So the Pentagon is substantially bigger than the Empire State Building.
In terms of floor space.
Some of your problems, when it comes to word problems, you really have to understand each and every sentence. Not all word problems are going to be exactly the same. So try not to get overwhelmed with the information and just take it step by step. Hopefully this will help you do some similar problems on your homework. And remember too, if this had said something like the Empire State Building is 3.5 times the amount of floor space, you'd solve it the same way, just instead of being 3x, it would be 3.5x. So hope that helps. Thank you for being patient. Good night.